So, folks, it happened. It happened. We talked about it just yesterday. We were wondering how long it would take Donald Trump to sign the bill to release the Epstein files. It happened. The stars have aligned. Donald Trump has signed the bill to release the Jeffrey Epstein case files. And it is fascinating because we're now in an entirely new and uncharted territory, because while the Trump administration is undoubtedly going to try to throw wrenches into what information gets released, I believe it is now only a matter of time until those files get released. We've had a number of different senators and representatives speculate it might be 10 days, might be a month. And Pam Bondi has attempted a gambit to use a provision within the bill to try and delay the release of some files. However, that is, well, it's not necessarily going to be the best way to stop it, or indeed a way of stopping information from coming to light. So, what is about to happen, right? Now that this bill is law, there is a 30-day time limit to release the Epstein case files. What is going to happen now is that in this bill, which we're going to take a look at here, because you can actually just read it. Let's just take a look. Release the documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. Not later than 30 days after the date of enactment of this act, the Attorney General shall, subject to subsection B, make publicly available in a searchable and downloadable format all unclassified records, documents, communications, and investigative materials in the possession of the Department of Justice, including the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the United States Attorney's Office, that relate to Jeffrey Epstein, including all investigations, prosecutions, or custodial matters, Ghislaine Maxwell, flight logs or travel records, including but not limited to manifests, itineraries, pilot records, customs or immigration documentation for any aircraft, vessel, or vehicle owned, operated, or used by Jeffrey Epstein or any related entity. Individuals, including government officials, named or referenced in connection with Epstein's criminal activities, civil settlements, immunity, or plea agreements, or investigatory proceedings. Entities, corporate, nonprofit, academic, or governmental, with known or alleged ties to Epstein's trafficking or financial networks. Any immunity deals, non-prosecution agreements, plea bargains, or sealed settlements involving Epstein or his associates. Internal DOJ communications, including emails, memos, meeting notes concerning decisions to charge, not charge, investigate, or decline to investigate Epstein or his associates. All communications, memoranda, directives, logs, or metadata concerning the destruction, deletion, alteration, misplacement, or concealment of documents, recordings, or electronic data related to Epstein, his associates, his detention and death, or any investigative files. Documentation of Epstein's detention or death, including incident reports, witness interviews, medical examiner files, autopsy reports, and written records detailing the circumstances and cause of death. And then prohibited grounds for withholding, because it's actually, by this law, prohibited from, you are prohibited from withholding information. No record shall be withheld, delayed, or redacted on the basis of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity, including to any government official, public figure, or foreign dignitary. Now, Section C is where we get to what they are allowed to hold back, right? So this is going to be what we would need to look at for how the Trump administration might seek to throw a wrench into this. The Attorney General may withhold or redact the segregable portions of records that contain personally identifiable information of victims or victims' personal and medical files and similar files, the disclosure of which would constitute a clearly unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. Which, that's pretty reasonable. Like, we don't want this to be something that harms the children who were trafficked. B, depict or contain child sex abuse materials as defined under 18 U.S.C. 2256 and prohibited under yada yada yada. Which obviously, yeah, the government shouldn't release child porn. C, would jeopardize an active federal investigation or ongoing prosecution, provided that such withholding is narrowly tailored and temporary. So, Here, this is where we get into a little bit of sticky territory, because Pam Bondi was essentially ordered to open an investigation into Democrats potentially implicated by the Epstein files. So this investigation could cause a delay in releasing some parts of the Epstein files. However, keep in mind, that is limited. It is limited to what they can justify as being related to the investigation, and it is limited to temporally, to a set time. So at some point, even if they tried to delay for Trump's entire term, there is going to be someone else who comes along to end that investigation formally and release those files. However, it's also maybe not the best way to try and conceal information here, largely because we're going to know about it. We're going to know that stuff has been withheld if the Trump administration tries to throw a wrench into this in this way, right? Largely because of what is coming up in Section 2. So keep a hold on that one. We're only at the second thing that they can withhold information, or yes, third thing they can withhold information for. Okay, then Section D, depict or contain images of death, physical abuse, or injury of any person. Makes sense. Or contain information specifically authorized under criteria established by an executive order to be kept secret in the interest of national defense or foreign policy, and are in fact properly classified pursuant to such executive order, which doesn't include a whole lot at this point in time, right? And now we get to Section 2, about every single one of the things that the Attorney General might withhold. All redactions must be accompanied by a written justification published in the Federal Register and submitted to Congress. To the extent that any covered information would otherwise be redacted or withheld as classified information under this section, the Attorney General shall declassify that classified information to the maximum extent possible. If the Attorney General makes a determination that covered information may not be declassified and made available in a manner that protects the national security of the United States, including methods or sources related to national security, the Attorney General shall release an unclassified summary for each of the redacted or withheld classified information. All decisions to classify any information after July 1st, 2025, shall be published in the Federal Register and submitted to Congress, including the date of classification, the identity of the classifying authority, and an unclassified summary of the justification. Which means, and I want to be clear here, that if they try to do redactions, if they try to say, oh, guys, no, you can't have that because it's part of our ongoing investigation, understand what they then need to do in order to follow this now law is that they need to provide a summary of what is in those documents. They need to put names. Pam Bondi is going to need to put her name on what is being classified or withheld for whatever official reason, and that is going to come with a level of accountability, responsibility, etc., that can then be used to hold her accountable in the future, right? This is going to be something that, there are going to be consequences for if they lie about it. So what we're looking at here is, even if they try to slow the release of the Epstein files for assuming they're able to hold together a fracturing Republican political, elite for the next 3 years, which, can you imagine them ever accomplishing such a feat? The files are going to come to light, and Pam Bondi is not an old lady. She could very well spend the rest of her life in prison if it is found that she's signing her name on releases to Congress that are not true in order to protect a pedophile, right? This is again, we start getting into the territory of if they start trying to withhold big sections of the Epstein files, they are going to be fucked politically. Like, they are not, like, this is one of those situations where, like, the bomb has gone off and now it is just a mad scramble for people to pick what they believe is going to be the winning side. And if they know if they pick wrong, they are going to be, like, absolutely screwed. Their entire political careers are going to go up in flames. And so a lot of people are going to make the safe choice and not defend someone that is widely regarded as the most suspicious person in the room. Just Donald Trump, the man who pointed a finger at a reporter the other day when asked about Jeffrey Epstein and said, "Quiet, quiet, piggy." The kind of thing, you know, a perfectly innocent man would do. So basically, folks, the knives are all out amongst the Republicans in Congress and, you know, even state level Democrats, or not Democrats, Republicans. We're looking at the rats scurrying from the ship. Now, just to finish the rest of this, the third section requires reports to Congress. Within 15 days of completion of the release required under Section 2, the Attorney General shall submit to the House and Senate committees on the judiciary a report listing all categories of records released and withheld, a summary of redactions made, including legal basis, a list of all government officials and politically exposed persons named or referenced in the released materials, with no redactions permitted under subsection B1. Again, we take a look at subsection B1. No record can be withheld, delayed, redacted on the basis of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity, etc., etc., etc. So, yeah. We're gonna get a list of the people who are in this. Understand that these reveals to Congress, or these reports to Congress that are required, mean that this information is going to be available. And if Democrats or Republicans leak it, it's true. They sniff, and then they twitch. What if Trump pardons her before he leaves or dies? I imagine that there might be, I imagine that lying to cover the president, let me put it this way. I imagine that would be challenged in court, because if the president can pardon someone for lying to Congress, that opens up so many doors of terrible, terrible outcomes. Also, president can't pardon state level charges. And, I don't know about you guys, but I would imagine lying to your state's representative in Congress might be some kind of offense. So, all of that being said here, we're gonna see the Epstein files now, and it is merely a matter of time. It is merely a matter of time. Which state? Whichever state she happens to be in. I wouldn't be surprised if the entire thing gets leaked. I mean, we're gonna have like a downloadable trove with a minor amount of redactions in place. We'll see. It's going to be politically disastrous if they try to cover things up, even pardons for covering things up. Yeah, I mean, like, we're talking, this is the political nuclear bomb going off. We're going to see waves of destruction. Right now, we've only seen, like, the blast, just the air pressure wave has blasted by us. Do we have can I get, like, here, like, just to give you guys an idea here. Where are we? The bomb has gone off, right? And we're right about here. The light has hit us, and the blast is shaking the dust out of the rafters. And nothing else has hit yet. So we're only seeing right now a pale shadow of what's going to happen when these files drop. But this is in slow motion. Yep. Worth pointing out, Jack, even redacted, we can cross-reference a lot of data to backfill what has been lost. People are very leaky when it comes to what you can cross-reference them on. Yeah, I mean, like, any reporter worth their salt is going to be all over these files and is going to be asking people who would know some very pointed questions. You know, like even in this era where a lot of mainstream media is compromised, we're going to be seeing some cracks in the facade of a lot of very powerful people. It's going to take out a lot of powerful people. Good. You know, that's the thing. Like the threats here, I'm just like, yeah, no, good. Take every single one of them down. Larry Summers, yeah, take him away. I don't care if Larry Summers is ever welcome in public again. I don't care. Dude's a creep. He's gross. Get him out of here. He shouldn't be interacting with like college students. Get him out. Yeah, no. The Senate gave unanimous consent for a release of the Epstein files. Didn't know Republicans knew anything about consent. I mean, like, if anything indicates to you how radioactive this political, like, bomb is, it's the fact that Chuck Schumer was able to get unanimous consent. Think it'll hit anyone over here in Australia? I imagine it's going to hit someone from a lot of different countries on Earth. Search Trump.
Search Trump. Replace Obama.
Oh God. Obama. It's gonna reverberate for sure. You know, and it's a bit sad, right? Because we've had gigantic like file drops about the world's elite like dodging taxes and doing all kinds of things to like steal money from their workers and all that jazz. You know, the Panama Papers, things like that. But and like reporters who covered stuff like that got killed, you know, in some places around the globe. And you know, it is sad, but at least we know now this will get people to care enough to actually hold powerful people to account. At least that's my hope. Boeing doesn't fuck around. Yeah. What about Mark Epstein? Is he in danger? Genuinely, I don't know. I don't know who all is going to be implicated in this. I, like the rest of you, am going to be finding out as it happens, and we'll be talking about it for sure. Lead reporter of the Panama Papers was killed in a car bomb. Yes. She was silenced, and then people just kind of forgot that they happened. I have no idea where my parents are at with this. I'm sure they've maybe gotten the idea I haven't been calling as much because of the election. I did notice their Trump throwing up the fist fight, fight, fight portrait was taken down from their wall last time I was there. Damn. Yeah, I mean, there are people right now who are posting like burning MAGA hats on their timelines. This is causing a lot of damage to the Republican brand, you know, as gross as it is to say that, and not to spoil what we're going to be talking about later tonight, but I do want to give you guys one bit of good news, and that is new polling is devastating, not just for Donald Trump, but for all Republicans. It's really, really bad for them. Democrats hold a 14-point lead over Republicans among registered voters when asked who they would vote for in a generic 2026 midterm matchup. Do you guys have any idea? Do you guys have any idea what kind of like a victory margin that is? We're talking like bigger than 2008. We're talking like bigger than any kind of shift we've ever seen in politics in the last half a century, right? Like, this is where the public opinion poll is on Donald Trump and this administration and conservatives at large. Well, spleen, Republicans are backing away from the gerrymandering, debacle because they are realizing the margins that are being put up by generic Democrat, not even like a good Democrat or an okay Democrat, just generic Democrat, are completely toasting them in the middle of like blood red places of the country. Yeah, Dragonfly points out that in 2008 the margin was 10.6%. We're talking 4 points above that. So it's I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. But one of the most interesting things in this polling to me isn't just the dominance of Democrats over Republicans because of the damage that this Trump regime is doing to the Republican brand, but it is also this bit of information. Trump saw his approval among white men without degrees go down from 51% in September to 48% in November. Donald Trump has lost the strongest majority he has. Uneducated white men. In the understand, from September to November, just a couple months, he slipped 3 percentage points in the bastion demographic of the Republican Party. Like, they are losing the dumb white guy vote. This is like, oh no. This is, when we're talking about cracks in like the Republican base, this is it. This is like if you're a Republican like analyst or like consultant and you're looking at this is like the equivalent of like going to the Hoover Dam and just seeing a gigantic crack. You know, like it is not great. Yeah, we're going to look at this as a major repudiation of everything that Donald Trump has done. And it has the potential to like kill the Republican Party. We're already seeing some Republican folks trying to reposition themselves as America first, America only, alongside folks like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie. And it is going to still be an ultra nationalist. It's still going to be like a very Nazi fascist coded party, but this is the shattering of their base of strength, which leaves us with an interesting moment where we need to look far more closely going forward at the war that is brewing and currently raging within the Democratic Party. What kind of party is going to meet this moment of weakness for, you know, the future of the country, right? Are we going to go with Chuck Schumer's future? The future of Wall Street and the corporate elite, and we're going to quintuple down on AI as, you know, it continues to be unprofitable? Or are we going to choose a better path? Are we going to choose a more hopeful path? A path that where like our government actually works for us, the people? Are we going to go the Mamdani route? And the thing is, we need folks to step up and be the next Mamdani. We need folks to step up and create the local backbone for a Mamdani campaign. And that is why, as I have been for the past year and a half, I am once again asking you guys to join your local Dems and join your local DSA. Radicalize your Dems and make your local DSA more effective. Bring a better type of politics to your local government, because we can actually do great things on the local level. We can organize local well-meaning Dems towards better policies. We can organize our local DSAs from being, you know, impotent circle jerks into being like powerhouse grassroots campaigning. We can do that. It is possible. We've seen it happen in New York City, and we have seen it happen in states across the country, in statewide races. It's time to start making this not just a New York City thing, but an America thing. Okay? We need to spread the success of candidates who believe that government can actually work for the people instead of against the people. So, again, if you need help joining your local Dems or your local DSA, join our Discord, !Discord in any of the chats. You'll get a link, click it, come through. And then reach out to Dragonfly for help joining your local Dems, and reach out to GamerG for help joining up with your local DSA. And we also have channels dedicated to talking about the different problems and talking about how to be more effective in your local groups. Together, we are going to try our best to make this happen, but You need to put in the effort. You need to show up to the goddamn meetings. It's 90% of this work. 90% is showing up in those meeting rooms. All right? So, let's get to work. If you like the segment, remember, like, comment, and subscribe. Drop the subs and donos. Do the things, the things that help the show. And remember, this show is brought to you by viewers like you with subs, donos, memberships, super chats, etc. So please support the show if you are at all able. Whoo!
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and switchy streams. All that content is bursting the scenes. Politics, gaming, plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat Jack.